Albanese harasses, calls and woolies. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Let's check out this article because Albanese is going to bat. He's fighting for our cost of living. To make it more affordable for Australians as everything gets more expensive. No, he's not reducing the petrol tax levy. No, he's not doing that. He's not increasing the tax-free threshold to reduce the burden on all Australians. No, he's not doing that. No. He's not reducing all of the sin taxes, on your beers or your alcohols or your cigarettes. So you could, enjoy the little luxuries in life, when you want to have a nice, cold, refreshing beer and not pay an insane amount. No. He is attacking Coles and Woolworths. Now, this is purely 100% political. Okay, these corporations may have make $1 billion in profit, but they've got huge revenues, and their margins on this stuff is not that big. And they're big employers too, guys. So let's have a look here. Anthony Albanese's stern message to supermarkets amid a cost of living crisis. So rather than, I suspect he's not removing the petrol levy or even reducing it temporarily, even though the budget is in black because iron ore is performing much better than anticipated, because that's what the last mob did. And he wouldn't want to be seen doing what the last government did. Shit, I hope that's not the reason. I really hope that's not the reason. I'm getting too cynical with all of this stuff because life is getting bloody expensive. You cut the cost of petrol, instantly people would have an impact within that week of them driving to work. Maybe these politicians are just so far removed from reality that they don't appreciate that. And this really feels just like an attempt to win votes, because the average punter may not understand. So Albanese says he is not buying the supermarket giant's price justification as the government weighs up whether to force the companies to expose any discrepancies. Oh, they're publicly traded companies. They list everything. Every time we hear about, wage theft in one of these big companies, it's the companies themselves identifying a mistake or a discrepancy they made in their accounting system and reporting it and making it good. That's when ASIC or these other organizations get in afterwards, after the company has already addressed it. The Prime Minister vented his frustrations at the big supermarkets as he hit the airwaves on Monday to convince voters the cost of living crisis was his main priority. Well, he needs to do something. I mean, here's the thing. The average person seems to think the government can do something about the cost of living crisis. And he's deflecting. I mean, what's the biggest cost that you have in your life on a monthly or yearly basis? What's the biggest thing that sucks away money out of how you live? Is it your grocery bill? We've got a big family. We spend, I think probably about $2,000 a month on groceries. Maybe less. That Rachel handles it. But what about taxes you pay? And I'm not just talking about the taxes that come out of your wages, but people don't realize that. What about all the levies and excises and other taxes that people pay that are chipped away here and there? And then there's people that dare to... imagine if he got rid of the stage 3 tax cuts. I think the problem for the big supermarket chains is that when people look at the prices that they're paying off the farmers and then look at the prices they're charging, is that people can see there's a discrepancy there, he said. Okay, now, to get something from the farm to a grocery shop, a supermarket in a city within driving distance or walking distance from your house, that is a logistical step. There's a lot of people involved in that process from the farm to your shop, and then you take it to your plate. The alternative to that, and you can do it, is you can drive out to the country and pull up at one of those little things at the side and, buy a pumpkin or a bag of potatoes. This is why there's a discrepancy. Are we all forgetting? I think we are. Remember when they changed all of the wage requirements for fruit and vegetable pickers? Didn't they go from outcome to hourly? I remember reading about that and talking about that. We seem to all have forgotten about that, haven't we? this is the price we pay for these policies and these ideas. And we need to ensure the average person isn't tricked by the rhetoric here that Albanese is putting out to try and deflect away from the burden that the state places on us onto these companies, which sure aren't angels, and I prefer Aldi 100%, but I mean we've worked for Coles on projects, then they're a challenging client. I don't chase them anymore. So people look at the profits the supermarkets are making. People know there is effectively a big duopoly who have considerable market power. Not anymore. You've got all of the other shops. You've got IGA. You've got Aldi. You've got Costco. We still find Aldi is the cheapest. I should do an update video where we look at all of the costs of goods. Coles made a profit of more than $1 billion during the last financial year. Woolworths reported a $1.6 billion in profit during the same period. Yes, we want companies to make a profit. That's a good thing. And if you look at this in relation to their revenue, there's better businesses to get into than shopping, but it's pretty consistent. It's going to be consistent demand. It's not going to fluctuate as much as other sectors. But this is all people see. It's the same thing as taxes. The articles will be written in such a way to play up on the class divide and the jealousy and the tall poppy that's ingrained in the average Aussie. They're thinking, why is a person earning $200,000 getting a $9,000 tax decrease when someone on $45,000 is only getting a $25 tax decrease? It's because the person who is earning more is paying more. And I would assume that's common knowledge. But maybe it isn't. Coles and Woolworths have repeatedly denied engaging in price gouging. In a statement, Woolworths spokesperson said the supermarket would continue to deliver savings to customers as we start to see the rate of inflation ease. We are committed to offering our customers value while working with our suppliers to sensitively manage economy-wide pressures, they said. A Coles spokesperson argued the organisation's net profit after tax was just 2.6%. Shit, guys. That means for every $100 customers spend it on our stores, Coles makes just $2.6 or $2.60 profit. We are focused on keeping the price of food and groceries low for our customers while paying our hard-working farmers and producers fairly. Asked directly whether or not he believed the supermarket spin, Albanese said, it was clear there's a discrepancy there, simple as that. Yeah, but how much real-world experience does Albanese have? Hasn't he just been in politics his whole life? Mr. Albanese met with the former Trade and Competition Minister Craig Emerson and Treasurer Jim Chalmers on Monday morning to discuss the direction of Dr. Emerson's inquiry into the food and grocery code. Oh boy. Well, here you go. This is why it's expensive. It's just going to... What happens when the government gets involved in everything? Here's something I find insane. In Western Australia, we used to have a potato board. And this is a body that regulated the potato industry and how many potatoes could be sold. And this is not like something from 1920. This was recent, in living memory. The last decade, we had this stupid thing. What do you think that did for potato prices? It inflated it. It put more of the cost there. And all of this, the good doctor's time, all of this is all paid for. And what are they going to find? They're going to find nothing. Or what they'll find is that the increased costs resulting in labour costs that they've imposed on the farmers, the increased costs resulting in fuel and transportation costs that they've imposed is what's driving up these things. Will they release that? No, they'll just harass Coles and Woollies again. And the average person will be there drooling, looking at their bloody, Twitter thing or X or whatever, going, I agree with Albo, he's my hero. And wonder why they still can't get ahead. The supermarket giants have been warned the code could be made mandatory and government intervention is an option should they fail to pass on lower prices. Oh, shit. Currently, the code is voluntary and it governs how Coles, Woolworths, Aldi, and Metcash interact with suppliers and customers. See, this here, I see that, and groceries and supermarkets, the words government intervention. I think people will go hungry. Okay, that's what I see. These two things together don't scream affordable food to me. Based on historical precedent, this screams more expensive food. You know, you've got, what is it, Tim Pool selling his bloody Duma prep kits of all the, you know, the bloody seed oil garbage to get prepared. Oh, boy. There you go. Dr. Chalmers is also considering whether to pull the trigger on price inquiry to be run by the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission. Here's the thing, is that we're not in a free market, guys. We are not in a free market. A competition watchdog inquiry would grant the Commission the power to compel the supermarkets to reveal what they pay for produce. A separate Senate inquiry established by the Greens is also set to probe allegations of price gouging by the major supermarkets. It comes as the government is under pressure to ease the cost of living pressures on Australia, despite concerns any relief could exacerbate inflation. I mean, what are we hearing? I mean, the government here in Queensland is going to hand out like $100 or $150 on your power bill. Now, okay, if you're really doing it tough, that might make a difference. You know, some pensioner doing it hard, you know, $150 if they spend $50 a month on power, you know, but for a lot of people, that's not going to even be noticeable. What's going to be noticeable is your petrol that you fill up every week. And what's going to happen is costs are going to go down as inflation goes down. And all of this will be a whole bunch of theatre to try and win votes. They'll point to it at the next election saying, this is how we fought for your cost of living. Just wait. And tuttin bad. Treasury and Finance have also been tasked with finding ways to deliver relief in line with the government's priority to fight inflation. Mr. Albanese noted Cabinet was meeting on Monday to discuss the issue, which he expected would spill over into the coming weeks, and further meetings for the budget raiser gang. We know that the cost of living pressures are there, and we know that the fight against inflation is not over. We'll continue to look for targeted cost of living relief, how we can make a difference for people without adding to inflation. Well, let's have a chat about this one, guys. So, what do you reckon? Does this feel like they're just attacking the Coles and Woolworths and all the grocers? I'm worried when I hear government code and intervention into supermarkets. That's not going to lead to anything good. You want cheaper food? You need more competition. Okay? If you're shitty at Coles and Woolies, shop at Aldi. It's cheaper. You may not get the same brand. It may be Aldi knockoff, but it's just as good, if not better. And, okay, you're thinking, oh, it's only a little bit cheaper, Florian. But over a month, it adds up. You know, 30 cents here, $1 here, $2 here. You know, 10% off here, 15% off here. In a big shop, that adds up. Over a month, that adds up, and you save some money. Because don't go looking to the government to be your bloody saviour with regards to cost of living, because they're doing bloody Senate inquiries. When they could reduce the petrol levy like that, and you'd get an instant ability to have more money in your pocket. Or they could have a temporary reduction in taxes. Even if they had an emergency thing, you know, up the tax-free threshold for 6 months for everyone. They don't care. Anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one. Take care, guys, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.